All right. Good morning, everyone. Well, it's been a while. How's everyone doing? So it's a little after 9 a.m. and I wanted to tune in here today for day 45 of the small account challenge. You could see the account right now. I've already taken one trade, which was on WIMI, W-I-M-I, and I think today may be the day that I cross over $30,000. We'll see. I'm still about $600 away from that level, so I'll show you my account balance right now. So started this morning with $27,607.13, and with the 1800 sitting at about $29,478.03. So I started this small account challenge 45 trading days ago with about $4,300. So if I can cross over 30,000, that'll be well, that's my goal. So I set that goal, and the plan is to then donate $25,000, which is essentially the profit, since I started with 4,300. So I'll donate 30,000 minus 4,300, and that is going to put me over $1 million in charitable donations, which I'd be really excited to do today. And we'll see whether or not that happens. So for this exciting day 45 of the small account challenge, I thought I would stream on YouTube and get folks excited, because this is something that I've been really looking forward to. So if it doesn't happen today, well, we'll try again tomorrow. I might not make another 600 today, and so then I'll try again tomorrow. For those tuning in, perhaps for the first time, I'm going to put up my disclaimer as a reminder, in case you didn't already know, that trading is risky. Most beginner traders lose money. And so you should assume as a beginner trader, you would lose money as well. And with that assumption in mind, trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. My results are not typical, so you shouldn't try to blindly follow me or anyone else. Yesterday we had a great day trading HLBZ. We had news on that at 8:30, a partnership with Amazon. So that was news posted at 8:30 yesterday, and this one squeezed promptly from about $14 all the way up to $36 a share. The power of news headlines where partnering with these big companies, this is can be pretty big. And then just last night after hours, MRIN, partnership with Google. And this stock, which I didn't trade, goes from 565 all the way up to 1049. So for those tuning in on YouTube for the first time, hit the thumbs up, please. And maybe share the video with a couple of friends. I'm going to roll our intro, and then we're going to get started breaking down the watch list for today. Let's see. I'm gonna copy this and move this to a different feed. I'm gonna put this right over here. Maybe I'll put it up at the very top. So just as a reminder, YouTube delays live broadcasts. They're pretty darn close to live, but there is an inherent delay. It could be, it's usually like 10 seconds sometimes. For some people, depending on where you are, it could be 20, 30, 40 seconds. So just be mindful of that. For those that are in our chat room, we use ultra low latency streaming servers. We spend a lot of money on those. So you guys have very, very low latency depending on where you're logging in from again. All right, so let's see. All right. So my routine every morning starts about the same way. For those that haven't already checked out my video on trading gappers, we can post that maybe in the comments and pin that to the comments. So each day I start by looking at our gap scanner. Leading gapper this morning is MRIN. This is the stock that has news of a partnership with Google. This is a good, it's a revenue share agreement with Google. It's a good agreement, and the stock has responded pretty favorably to that. However, at this point, one of the things that I struggle with a little bit is feeling that I already missed the big move. You know, the big move was when it squeezed from $6 to $10. Now it's consolidating sideways and ultimately is range bound. It's range bound because it's not making new highs. It's below the pre-market high of 1116. It's above the pre-market lows, so it's in range. And so for that reason, I'm just kind of leaving it alone for the time being, but I would say that if it broke over 1116, I'd be interested. So I could sort of anticipate if it got up towards 1175, 1185, 1195, 1075, 1085, 1095 up towards 11, that there'd be a higher likelihood that it'll break through 11, so on and so forth. But for right now, I'm going to leave this alone. So that's MRIN, our leading gapper. The float is 15 million shares. It's got 15 million shares of volume, so it's got a lot of volume here, which is good. But right now, the chart is not really moving enough. It's not going parabolic. I think I missed the big move. Okay, so that's MRIN. AEMD is our second leading gapper in the entire market. It's up only 34%, so this is a much lower gapper, relatively speaking at least. Pre-market high is 550. Well, this one I don't see news on it. Doesn't necessarily mean there isn't news, but my news feed's not showing anything, so I'm going to leave that one alone for right now. If it broke the pre-market high, I'd be more interested, 550. POAI, this one's up 19%. It's a $1.16 stock, so it's a cheaper one. Price at float is 3.7 million shares, 2.64 million shares of volume pre-market. Pre-market high is up here around. Pre-market highs at this point, not very interested in that. I usually don't trade stocks below $1. I don't trade penny stocks. And a stock this cheap, I usually wouldn't be very interested in. Although, I will say that in the small account, one of the nice things on a stock of that price range is that, let me type in POAI, and I'll press Shift 3. So I could buy like 18,000 shares of it, right? That's just using 90% of my buying power. So potentially a trade like that, could become a big winner because of how many shares I can buy. But I just generally don't trust these lower price stocks, so I'm going to leave that one alone. All right, so that's POAI. ONTX, 15 million share float. This one also popped up pretty nicely. Let's see. Squeezed from 5 up to 640, but is pulled back. Right now is below the volume weighted average price. was having a little bit of an internet issue the other day, and I noticed I had a little bit of just like a little bit of a lag here today as well. So I'm not sure exactly what's causing that, but hopefully it doesn't continue. MRIN, yep, it's curling up a bit. So I'm going to remove all my drawing tools on the daily chart and break this down a little bit. So the high was way up here at 27.26, so that's a ways off. Next level is 10.55, and then 11.98, and then 12.46, then a little bit of gap fill. So just kind of looking at the highs of these candles to see where we might see resistance. And then nice big gap up there. And then if we pull the chart out even further, you can see that this stock has all-time highs way up around 140. So, I don't know. It's not a very strong chart. Compared to something like HLBZ, you might think, well, this chart's not strong. You've got those big red candles. That's true now because of that red candle. But on the other hand, it's at all-time highs. So we usually like the all-time highs setup quite a bit. Blue sky is what I call that. No upside resistance. And MRIN does not have that. So I'm a little hesitant on it. In fact, I kind of would look at this as probably having resistance up around this level here, descending resistance. However, it is the leading gapper, so there will be a lot of people that are probably watching it, but I don't know that that one's the right one for me. Some folks have mentioned a daily setup on JCS, but this one's gapping up really only like 4 or 5%. It's not a very big gapper, and the volume is light. But again, on this one, you can see how 11.45 was the high of that red candle. And then beyond that, looks like all-time highs are around 24. It's also not a recent IPO. This chart goes all the way back to 1982. XPOF, I just saw that move up the scanner. This is looks like a bit of a more recent IPO stock. So you never know with stocks like these, but I don't see that it has any significant volume at the moment, and probably more importantly, I don't see a catalyst to justify why it's moving up. So I saw it move up the gap scanner. It is up 12.8%, but CRTD is up a little bit as well. We've got about 10 minutes to the bell, the opening bell. So the survey there, what's the hardest thing about trading for you? Finding stocks, managing risk, managing emotions, decisions, or finding a strategy. And managing emotions and decisions is coming in at the top. Well, that doesn't surprise me too much. This has been a year where we've seen so much kind of parabolic momentum. Stocks like GameStop, I think that no doubt has created a fair amount of FOMO among traders. It created FOMO in me. I fall victim to it as well. So one of the big challenges is not over trading and not getting in way too high. And so many traders fall into that habit. Let's see, where is it? This is the this is how I think we all feel sometimes. And unfortunately, the market has a way of making us feel really stupid. And how did I possibly make such a silly mistake? So I've been there, and I made a pretty bad trade on Zevo. Let's see, this was 2 days ago, where I traded it early and I was up 17,000. And even though I identified the devil horns right here, indicating this stock might be preparing to ruin my day, I proceeded to go ahead and take this trade. It was right around here. And I proceeded to lose about $35,000 on it as it dropped back down. So, you know, you can have all the red flags waving in your face and then still take the trade. And I think that is FOMO. That's the definition of FOMO, the fear of missing out, the fear of missing an opportunity. So, you know, it's one of those things that you see on Wall Street bets as well. You know, traders who, you know, were up $2 million, $3 million, $4 million, didn't take profit. Why? Greed. Profit. It's not enough. They're looking for more. And then it comes back down, and I mean, we've seen the stories. So for me, I haven't gotten any YOLO trades. I haven't gotten any single trade that gave me $1 million winner. I don't think that's, I mean, it might happen, but I think that's extremely unlikely because that's not how I trade. So for me, trading is just about, you know, base hit after base hit, small base hit. And sometimes trading can feel sort of boring. And I think that means you've brought the emotions down quite a bit. So my metrics here, you know, and you have to take these with a grain of salt because my results are not typical, but this is based on over 16,000 trades. It took 16,000 trades for me to make 9.5 million in gross profit. 16,000 trades. You know, years. I'm not gonna, you know, put it all into GameStop and make $9 million in 2 weeks. That's a lottery ticket. I would love for that to happen, but it's never gonna happen. And the only way it would happen is if I took an obscene, you know, degenerate level of risk, and just can't do that. So it's about small base hits. Average winners being $1,600. Here's an $1,800 winner right there. But as you can see, over long periods of time, if you can maintain good decision making, which is easier said than done, you know, I think that's what you want to be focusing on. The big picture. Hi, Alex. Good morning. So we've got about 5 minutes to the bell here, and I was hoping that perhaps we would see something. A bit more exciting. I thought maybe we'd see a news headline at 9 a.m. So, yep, small account to answer that question. After today's profits is at $29,478.03. Goal is $30,000. So about $600 shy of the goal. That would be one trade potentially, but have to focus on finding a good trade. So MRIN resistance at this yellow descending resistance line. All right, so a watch list there. Someone mentioning ARQQ. Let me look at that one. So the float on ARQQ is a bit higher, 110 million shares. It did make a big move yesterday, but it is a bit of a higher float. ATER, curling back up. Room on the daily back to 1668, which would be the high of this candle right here, and then back to 1910. Bit of a flat top pattern. ATER. Oops. So a stock like this, at this price range, I can't take too many shares of, which is sometimes a challenge. About 2 minutes to the bell. So the flat top breakout pattern is a gap and go entry. This is a bit of a meme stock, which is a little tricky. I don't see that it has specific news, which is also a little tricky. So one of the problems with meme stocks is that because you have people that were buying them, as it was kind of squeezing up here from 8 to 16, some of those traders are still holding it. HLBZ, is there news on it? So this one, I don't see any fresh news, and the volume is very light. But if there was a headline, that would be different. I would be looking for the breaking news headline. We had breaking news on it yesterday, but anyways, yeah, from 26 to 27. So when you have stocks like ATER, you have some bag holders, some traders that are still holding it from 17, 18. And some of them are going to put orders to just get out, break even. And so that creates upside resistance as they come back up, unfortunately. So for that reason, I'm having a little bit of a hard time wanting to be a buyer here, because I'm afraid that we'll run into resistance levels. So there's the open with some sellers in the 90s, 95, 10,000 share seller. So nice gap and go there through 1468 up to 1527. No trades on it for me. MRIN dipping down a little bit, not able to break through that descending resistance line. Sava, not interested in that right now. 1668 is your level on ATER, but You can see MRIN pulling back a decent amount. So that's that chop at the open where it pops up and then pulls back, not able to hold the level. ATER has a high of 1527. WIMI from the breaking news at 8:30. Still just hanging out here, floats a little higher. DICB on the halt scan. I see that. This is one that has no news. I'm sure the volume is very light. So really preferring news or obvious momentum. One or the other. Still early here at 9:33. Nice on WIMI. Squeezing up a bit more. I don't want to chase that up here though. I've only taken one trade in the small account, which was on WIMI. I'll keep it on watch. But right now, waiting. ATER from 1527 back down. WIMI up to 3029. Nice, good to see. HLBZ popped up just a little bit, but 2850 was the level that really probably needed to break. That was the pre-market high. Seems like a pretty quiet open so far, aside from the 1468 to 1520 flat top breakout on WIMI, which was a gap and go setup. Had that been lower priced, I probably would have taken it, but in the big account, in the small account, I really 1,500 shares. It's just not a very big position, so kind of just felt like better to wait and focus on something that has more momentum. Not sure about this one. Let me check the float. GROM, 11 million share float. So I see it, but I don't see news on it. It's below its moving averages. I don't see a 200, which means it's a somewhat recent IPO. DVAX, check the float on that. Float's high at 90 million. ENSC, check that one. So no news on it. Looks like a continuation a little bit from the previous day. If it broke over 440, 445, that would look better, but currently is a gap down. Yesterday it went from $453 to $455, but wow, look at that range on ATER. Ooh, that's kind of stressful. All the way down to 1428, then back up to 1550. No trades on it for me, neither in the big account nor the small account. ONTX, 15 million share float, but it's below VWAP, volume weighted average price. ARQQ, the 100 million share float is giving me cause to wait. MRIN, nope, that's no good. DISCB, I didn't check the volume on it. It's higher priced and only has 16,000 shares of volume with no news. So this is a stock that has a history of making these kinds of low volume moves, but with very light volume and big spread. Right now the spread is 63 by 67. That's a 4-point spread. So can't manage risk on that. Let's see. So ATER, green on the 5. When you have something that's had this much range, I always am cautious buying it up at these highs because it could just flush right back down. Maybe it doesn't, but it's too risky. ONTX hitting the scans. Broke over VWAP. Pre-market high is 654. ARQQ making another one of those kind of straight up squeezes into a circuit breaker halt at 3302. No trades on that for me. DVAX 33 is a pretty high entry if you're in at 33. That's high of day on a 110 million share float. So right now, managing emotions and managing decisions, it's not super hard for me to not jump on anything when nothing looks good. Sometimes we can convince ourselves that something looks good when it really doesn't, but while ARQQ chart looked okay, the volume was light. Yesterday it was choppy as well, where it popped up and then had these big red candles, and the floats, 110 million shares, so I didn't trust that one. ATER, the meme stock factor made me a little nervous, so left that one alone. I think that was the right move. So right now, it's, if I see something, I know when I see something that looks good, and I don't hesitate. I'll jump in it. So if I'm hesitating, it means there's something that's I'm not feeling. Something's not feeling quite right. Maybe it's the volume, maybe it's the float, maybe it's the lack of a news catalyst. WIMI, the only one I traded, and I traded that earlier. Nice pattern. But it was a red rejection off that candle. Double top now here, 34 back down to 406. So that, of course, would make me cautious buying up here, because then I'd be thinking, well, what if it drops back to 406? SPIR. Yesterday's candle was a pretty big topping tail. So if you're hesitating too much, if you're seeing good setups and then you're just letting them pass you by again and again and again, that's likely a fear of losing money. You're afraid of loss, and so your fear of losing money is stronger, and as a result, you're just not taking the trade at all. In my experience, the best way to break through that is to reduce share size and start pulling the trigger. That way, you're just you're throwing yourself in there. But with smaller share size, the losses are much lower if you lose, and the profits are smaller too, but it just brings everything down, brings the emotions down. So then you can start focusing on doing what you need to do, which is finding good trades. Confidence, follows consistency, right? Once you start getting more consistent, you start getting more confident. Then you start taking bigger share size. It's a sort of positive feedback cycle. But you can't start that positive feedback cycle if you're afraid of even taking trades, which is why many people will build confidence by trading in the simulator. Because at least there, you don't have to worry at all about losing real money. You could just really practice trading just for the sake of practicing. And in that way, it's more of a game or a puzzle. The reward is not monetary in that moment, I suppose, but it's the knowledge that you're building a track record. We've been in a little bit of a market where it's kind of been like hit or miss, where like yesterday we had that, really huge move on HLBZ, and then that was like the main stock that was strong. So today we don't really have like a really, really strong one. We don't have a really, really obvious one. Hey, happy birthday, Ryan. September 22nd. So yeah, we just don't really have a super, super strong one today. The leading gapper, MRIN, has been weak. That sets the tone a little bit. AEMD, second leading gapper, also not that strong. POAI. So, it just kind of becomes a certain point that unless something starts to pop up and become obvious, traders just keep sitting and waiting, but eventually people get up and leave and they say, I'm done, I'm sick of waiting. So if we don't see anything until 2 or 3 in the afternoon, by that time, the number of people that are still sitting and waiting is much smaller than between 9 and 10 or 9 and 11. So even if you do start to get some momentum, it's usually not going to be as strong. ARQQ popped up there to a high of 34.40, but then back to 33.02 on the bid. Holding up, technically it's a 1-minute micro pullback right now. Back over 34 would be what you would want to see, but I would be selling into a move like that. $35 on the ask. Big spreads, 50-cent spreads. So if nothing looks good, how long will I typically wait before I kind of just lose focus or give up? Typically, if I don't take any trades between 9:30 and 10, I'll just stop at 10. I'll say, all right, I sat here for 30 minutes and nothing looked good. I'm just going to call it a day. So usually I'll wait half an hour after my last trade, and if I don't see anything else, then that's when I just say, enough's enough. Try again tomorrow. Sometimes I'll hang around longer, but I don't really, if I'm going to have a good day, it starts strong. If I'm going to have a bad day, it starts kind of slow and then just gets worse. What I don't love about ONTX is that it's below the 200 moving average. Yes, live classes today at 12 p.m. Eastern for Warrior Pro students. So that's a false breakout there. ARQQ has a topping tail candle on the 1 minute and it's red. Nice job, David, posting a P&L of $566. ARQQ going a bit higher, up to 36. See how the way this candle changes? Right now it's a topping tail. Now it's a really big topping tail, almost a shooting star. So when you've got such big spreads, the moment to moment, the candle could change significantly, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, am I long this stock that has a topping tail shooting star on the 5-minute? This is a terrible entry. So you don't want to get too sucked into the 1-minute chart to lose sight of whether or not it's extended. So for whatever reason, today has been a bit slower. Was hoping after that first trade on Wimmy that I'd get a couple more trades and cross through that $30,000 mark, and well, guess it just hasn't happened. Yeah, maybe. Wednesdays and Thursdays have been pretty good days for me, but I am looking forward to finishing up the small account, and it's not to say I won't do another small account challenge, because I'm sure I will, but it'd be nice to just focus on one account for a little bit. Trying to trade 2 accounts at once is not easy. So ATER, because it has this topping tail on the last 5 and then a bottoming tail, it's just got this range that I think would probably make any trader a little bit nervous. I would say that if this double tops at 50 and then consolidates under this level forming after that. Looks like the only halts have been kind of lower volume or higher price. DICB, ARQQ. Yes, class at 12 noon for Warrior Pro students. We're going to do a class on drawing ascending and descending resistance lines and breaking down daily charts. So it'll be a technical analysis chapter. Yes, it will be recorded. I'll do class in the Warrior Pro Mentor room, I think. Jess will be finishing his Q&A at 12, so that'll work fine. ARQQ keeps going higher. The high there is 36.42. But on a stock like this in the small account, let's see, I could buy 679 shares. So I would need a full $1 a share to get a $600 winner. And after that topping tail red candle on high volume, seems that would be a little risky. But the blue sky setup is, I think, the best thing that this one has going for it. And I guess the question is that stronger than the fact that the float is 110 million shares? I don't know. It's got a high there of 38. So we'll see how it holds up. Actually going to draw. So it's actually running like right into resistance right here, if that's a valid line. So your high there was 38.39. Sorry, George. Yeah, best to take the day off then. That's tough. So AEMD, this one has a pre-market high of about 550. The float's 15 million shares. The level 2 seems a little stacked up. The 5-minute chart is a little extended. So it would need a 5-minute pullback, but it could be worth watching. MRIN, so selling off pretty hard. A possible bounce would be 843, the 200 moving average. You know, that's a possible spot, but it's a little ways down. I'm not usually a buyer right here, because if I bought for a reversal trade right here, for instance, what I would have a problem with is the fact that it's going to probably have resistance at 9 coming back up, and it's probably going to have resistance at like 95, 96, 97, 98, because traders are going to feel very nervous about buying for the break over a whole dollar. So that doesn't leave me a lot of profit. If I could get in at around 850, that would be buying off of the whole dollar, and getting back up to 875 or 880 shouldn't be a problem. So I'd be much more likely to be a buyer around 850, especially given the 200 moving average, than right here at 875. So I would say possibly at 850, I'd be a buyer, or in the 850 area, 860. So this right here is a bear flag, but we'll see. And it may not find support at the 200 moving average. It may just go right through it. AEMD holding up. ATER super choppy, and ARQQ is also holding up. So it's kind of in between these levels, the high being 38.39, the low of this pullback down here being 35.63. CRVS setting up possibly a red to green move. That one, it's a bit of a meme stock, as we know, although I see a pretty clear level at about $9 on this. If it could break through 9, then I would look at yesterday's high, which is 9.54. So yeah, there could be something there, but the chart's not super clean. So MRIN selling off a bit more. Usually for reversal, I would like to see peaking volume at the low, because that creates the volume bottom. It's not doing that. So that makes it harder to get that snap off the low for a pop back up. To get a nice snap and a pop, usually we need a volume bottom. Small accounts start with about $4,300. So it wasn't the smallest account challenge I've ever done, but yeah, about 4,300. ARQQ 37.49, but you've got that topping tail up there. And big spreads, 50-cent spreads. DRMA halted. So the first thing I see on this is that it's a blue sky setup. The all-time high is 650. Float 1.7 million shares. Halted on a circuit breaker. There was some news initiating coverage. With the $14 price target. So on this one, I suppose you've got kind of one issue, which is that the volume is a little light. That therefore creates bigger spreads. You do have news on it this morning, which is good. The halt time was at 10:01 and 17 seconds, so resumption would be 10:06 and 17 seconds. Halted at 5:69, and we would really want to see it break 650. So, you know, on something like that, you never know. You could end up getting in this area and $5.75, $6, and it goes to 6. It gets halted again, and then you're looking at a blue sky setup, kind of like ARQQ, and then more traders, as more volume starts to come in, more traders see it, and more traders realize, hey, wait, this actually does have some news today. Maybe it's not the best news we've ever seen, but it is news nonetheless. So, yeah. Then the question is, do you get in early, like on the first halt resumption, or do you wait for it to prove itself? With lighter volume, it's probably safer to wait for it to prove itself, but if it resumes high and continues, then I'd consider being a buyer over $6, with the first target being that it just breaks through 6 and goes up to like 625, 650 or something like that. Then if it holds that level, I could look for trades for the break of 650, which would be a blue sky setup. So I'll put an order on this. Let's see. I'll watch it on resumption. We'll see where it resumes. I'll put the order at $6.25, and then I can always be a buyer a little earlier, but just see. So a quick starter there at 75, and then I'll add over 6. So looking for my add at 6, there's a seller, and I'm going to look for that seller to break, and then I'm going to add. So watching the seller at 6 to come down. Next halt level 629. So holding right now at 75 with the order at $6 to add. This is a micro pullback here. I'm about break even on it, but I'm looking for the break through 6 and then 625, given that it's a blue sky setup. So let's watch for it to come up to $6 again. Watching for my adding right there. Now looking for the break through 6. So we're looking for $6, then 610. There's 91 on the ask. I want to see 95, 96, 97, and that quick break through $6. There's 6 on the ask, holding 2,500 shares. Can we get the break through 6? So see how it's struggling a little bit there? Because it's struggling, I'm taking my profit and putting a new order at 610 to add back. If it can break 6, then I'll add back on the break of 6. Orders at 610. Watching now up here. Added at 607. Now looking for 615. So once it breaks through that level, now I try to look for that move up to 615, 625. So let's see if we get the break of 625. Holding 639 shares right now. Took a little profit off the table. New order is 625. So watching up here for the next trade. It's got to hold over $6. High of this candle is 613. Watching. The blue sky setup on the daily we know is 650. High of this candle 613. So I'm going to let it form a 1 minute pullback and we'll see if we get another trade on it. So, all right, well, $724. Let's see. That's going to put me just over $30,000. The small account. Current equity $30,202.91. 10,000 share bid on DRMA. So maybe what I'll do now, if I take more trades on it, I'll just trade in the big account. Put my order at 615. That way I don't give back the profit in the small account. I haven't taken any trades in the big account so far today. So we'll see what this does here. About 1.1 million shares of volume now. This one's on our high day Momo scanner. Seems like there's a seller at 6, maybe a hidden seller, but over 607, 608, I'd consider another trade. You know, it opened at 75.80, squeezed up. I got in, then took the profit out, then added back. I thought it was going to retest at least 650. I'm kind of surprised it didn't. But maybe that speaks to the fact that today, given the fact that MRIN, our leading gapper, has failed, that traders are just not interested in taking too much risk. So nice bounce on MRIN, and DRMA halted up at 570, bought resumption 575, added for the break of 6, and took profit on the break of 6, putting me up $2,595 on the day. This, through a 5-minute setup, I'll watch for the main account, but this is day 45, last day of the small account challenge, as I cross $30,000. So I started with 4,300 in the account. I traded for 45 days. I did not use leverage on any of the trades. I actually emailed the broker and asked them to take the leverage away, so I couldn't use leverage. So I traded with no leverage, just the cash balance, which means today I was able to trade with $27,600 because that was my starting balance today. And I said that once I hit 30,000, I would donate the profit to charity. So let's see, approximately $30,200 minus 4,300 is 25,900. So we'll be donating that to charity today. I'll put it on my credit card. ARQQ, this one, You've got a double top there at 30. I like it, but what I don't like about it are the big spreads. That's what I don't like about it. The spreads are big. The volume has declined, and a stock like DRMA really should have ripped. On that setup, that daily blue sky setup over 650 with the news catalyst, it should have moved faster and should have moved more. So given the fact that a lower price obvious setup like that didn't work as well as I wanted it to, my expectations for a higher risk, higher price setup with 110 million share float are very, very low. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to start doing some donations here. I'm going to donate $5,000 as a one-time donation to the Berkshire Humane Society. And let's see. I'm just going to move this over here. All right, so that's my info. Let me get out my credit card. Okay, I'm going to do my expiration. Okay. All right, so there's the first donation, $5,000. And let's see. I'm going to do $5,000 to Volunteers in Medicine, which is here in our local town. So this one's going to want me to do it through PayPal, so I'll do $5,000 for them. So these donations are going to put me over $1 million in charitable donations, with a lot of that going to local organizations here in Berkshire County, Massachusetts. Okay, so there's $5,000 to Volunteers in Medicine. Alright, I got another one here. Gotta enter my credit card. Let's see if that one goes through. Okay, this one's for an organization called Berkshire Agricultural Ventures. They support local farmers who then supply food to organizations like Berkshire Bounty. So I'll donate another $5,000 over there. Berkshire Bounty distributes food both from excess from the local farms, but also donations. And we have local food pantries where you can just basically go in and go shopping, and then you don't pay anything. So you can, it's really pretty cool. All right, so that's 5,000 to Berkshire Bounty. So we've got 5,000. There's 10. There's 15. There's 20. And let's see. One-time donation. Let's see. Country, United States. There we go. All right. Let's see if this one goes through. That one, I'm not sure if that went through or not. I'm gonna go check my card. So I was going to donate one other, but just give me that a second. ARQQ rolling over a bit. Yep, I see that. Yeah, that, well, it looked interesting, but didn't want to overstay our welcome on that one. Okay, let's see. All right. So, and there's Boston Children's Hospital there. So $5,000. And then let's see. Guess I've got another 900 to donate. So I will donate, let's see. Oh, People's Pantry, that's a good one. All right, so I'll donate 1,000 there. All right, so that will be $26,000 donated right there. So turned $4,300 into $30,000. making about 26,000 in profit, about a 600% return, something like that. 4,300 times 6 times 7. So nice 600-700% return there, and happy to pay that forward. As always, my results are not typical. I'm someone sitting down doing a small account challenge who's been trading for a really long time. So this is not the typical result a beginner trader with a $4,300 account should expect. But I know that it's been helpful for you guys. I've certainly seen it in the comments, in the chat room. Every single day of trading, well, just about every day, has been saved for live trading archives. So we've had live trading archives that students are able to go and rewatch, which I know is helpful because the way I make decisions and manage risk and manage emotions in this account is different from how I trade in the big account. In the big account, I can take a lot of risk, I can be really aggressive, and certainly when that pays off, I can crush it, and if it doesn't and I lose, I can recover. On Monday, I was down 30,000 in my main account. On Tuesday, I recovered and finished up $55,000. So I can afford those types of swings in my main account. I cannot afford those types of swings, obviously, in my small account. So I have to be approaching the small account a little bit differently. And when I began the challenge, I approached it from the perspective of one trade a day. One trade a day is the small account way. And so I took one trade a day, and I did that every day until, let's see, I did that for, I think it was the first 10 days, one trade a day. And then day 10 through 20, I would take about 2 trades a day. And days 20 through 30, I started taking more trades. And between 35 and 50, well, today's day 45, I've just been actively trading. So if today I only took a couple trades, like 3 trades total, I guess, or maybe 4, I don't know. But in any case, I only took a couple trades today on 2 stocks. But some days I might have, during the challenge, been more active when there were more opportunities or whatever the case was. So I think that a question that I was asked recently was about scaling in and adding, and I feel comfortable scaling in and adding. I didn't do that as much in the small account as I did in the big account, even during this challenge. I traded aggressively, but I wasn't crazy about add. I had to manage risk, and when you start adding, you start throwing off your cost basis, and you go from having potentially a great entry to, by the time you've scaled up, all of a sudden your entry's not so great anymore. So, and that happened to me yesterday on HLBZ. So the safer approach in a small account is really one entry and one exit. And then you start taking one entry and scaling out in maybe one half and then another half. And then you start taking one entry and you scale out a quarter, and then another quarter, another quarter. So maybe you have 5 trades, 1 entry and 4 exits. And then you might have 1 entry, 4 exits, and then you add back. There's a new setup that's formed, a new 1-minute pullback. And now essentially you're taking 2 trades. So the brand new trade has to stand on its own. And then out of that trade, you might have that 1 entry and then another 3 exits. And then again, perhaps as you gain a bit more confidence and the stock continues stronger, maybe you take a 3rd trade. But 1 entry, 1 exit, it's a great way to start. And the right way to start is by trading in a simulator. Because if you can't make money in a simulator, you can't trade with real money. It just makes no sense. So you start in a simulator, you build a track record of success, and you can look at your metrics from trading in a simulator, and you can say, okay, these are the metrics of how I'm trading. Let's see, let me pull up my TraderView stats. And then when you get ready to flip the switch and go live, start trading with real money, then you have these metrics as kind of your benchmark of, okay, this is what I know I've done in the past. This is what I know I'm capable of. So all I have to do is stay focused on trading these setups and not overstaying my welcome. So these are my metrics as of, I don't know when the last time I imported was. I'm going to have, I don't even know if I've imported for a couple days of September, but that's about it. So that's fine, whatever. But that's what you want to do. You build that track record first in the sim, then you start trading with real money, but with small size, and then you start to increase share size as you gain confidence. One of the goals for me, for you guys, for Warrior Pro students, is not necessarily that any of you are going to make as much as me or become as successful as me. I've been doing this for a long time. But that through the classes you gain financial literacy, you become better equipped to understand the mechanics of the market, how it works, and that knowledge is empowering you. Whether or not it's to actively day trade or perhaps to have a more active role in choosing a financial advisor and understanding what the heck they're saying when they're talking about investment strategy and stuff like that. It's about that holistic, better understanding of the financial markets, an education that many of us did not get in high school or in college. And so we kind of have to scrap information together from where we can. And for some, it's putting together videos on YouTube, which is all fine and great. But for others, it's wanting to learn from someone who's credible and who has proven that they are profitable. And so I'm happy to be sharing with you my experiences trading to whatever extent that they do help you. So that is day 45, some live trading and a recap in the books. And I thank you guys for tuning in. There will be no recap for the main account today. I didn't trade the main account. This was just a small account day, and I'm grateful to be green. I just didn't see anything that was strong enough. DRMA had it held that level of 615 was the spot I was watching for the main account, but then that didn't end up happening. ARQQ, I was tempted, but I held off, especially with that yellow resistance line up there. And so yesterday, the main account was up 55,000. Today, 0, no trades. Well, let's see how I do tomorrow. It only takes one good trade, one good opportunity. Over trading is something that a lot of beginner traders and even experienced traders fall into, and it could be a nasty habit. So less is more. Get green, get out. And if you do that, you're doing something that the majority of people haven't figured out how to do successfully in the market of trading, active trading. So it's about 10:30 here. No more trades for the small account. I'm not going to take my first trade in the big account at this time of day. And I will be back again soon. I'll keep an eye on the metrics of this video, which is on YouTube, was a YouTube live. And if we see some good thumbs up on this video, then maybe we'll consider scheduling some live morning content again this fall. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. We'll see how this video performs. Okay, all right, that's it for me. Thank you guys. 10:30, I'm shutting it down. I'll trade another day. I'll be back at it tomorrow.